because I got quite a lineup for you. One, two, three, four or five videos. And you can tell by my main screen, quote unquote, right? I'm playing Chronicles X. Xenoblade Chronicles X. I gotta check my levels on that. I'll keep it up for now because I wanted to do a little talk before, but I'll make sure I turn it down as I play each video while I play the game to show a little bit of gameplay on this particular game, and
I think I can answer that one.
Also to bring y'all forward on the black media.
The latest
I would like to consider myself as a part of the new black media or whatever, but I'm not into trying to explain politics to people,
I ran
right?
into
Because
Doug Barrett on the way here, and he didn't seem
we have a
upbeat.
bigger
Anything
issue
about
with
today's flight I should know?
understanding the mathematics.
No.
You see, I'm
Nothing
of the camp of we need
Be sure it
stronger
stays that way.
math skills
More importantly,
in order
Alma,
to understand and
another
truly
one.
understand.
Excellent work out there.
So he's rapping. I'm
Just doing my job,
hoping I'm
Mr.
talking loud
Secretary.
enough over his rap. Really, y'all can pay
Now,
attention to him a
as
little
for
bit if y'all want.
officially
Let me see.
registering
Go ahead
our
and
new
rap
citizen
something.
here.
Why don't we talk inside? There's a lot
You know.
of ground to cover. It could take some time.
But this is all part of the
Ah,
game,
yes, of course. Forgive me.
and I want to see
You
how
must
this
be
comes
weary
out as
from
I'm,
the stasis and your journey
talking
back to
over
us.
this guy, or if he's
Please,
talking over me.
after you.
I'll put on some
This is
tea.
all part of the story. But y'all really ain't come here for this story, right? And then those that are in the gaming community, they already know this story. So it's a waste of time. Really, I'm not doing this for the children. I'm doing this to promote the Nintendo Switch. So get one yourself, and we can link up and build a Nintendo network. That's my main goal, is to get more Nintendo. We'll share friend codes and we can play a game together and talk about, Nintendo and gaming in general. And Nintendo's not the only gaming system that I own. I have a PlayStation 3, but I gotta fix it. I have a PlayStation 2. That needs some work
Allow
too.
me to formally
Like
introduce
it'll
myself.
work, but I gotta,
My name is Kentaro Nagi.
I gotta kind of
You
take
may
it apart,
remember
kind
me as
of.
Captain
Like
of the
I
White
got some work to do on that
I
one
serve
too.
as
It's in so many
Secretary of
words.
Defense here for New LA. The provisional
Excuse me, I
government
ain't mean
has
to
charged
drink
me
in
with
your ear.
keeping the peace. So all
I do
military and
have
police
a
matters fall under
Nintendo
my
64. It worked the last
He's
time I
also a
checked, but
superior officer.
that might need some work to
And
it too
he'd be an
now.
excellent person to
It's been a
talk
while
to
since
when
I
you're
cut
ready to
that
start
on.
looking for work.
I'm a
What
PC
about a
gamer.
job right here
I
with
got
Blade? He
two
seems capable.
PCs that I'm working on.
Let's give it a little more time.
Uh,
At least until he knows enough to be
So
able to make an
there's a
informed
lot of
decision.
work to do up in here when it comes
He
to
seems
the
to be
hardware
suffering from
aspect.
some form
That's
of
why I'm
memory
really
loss.
not
Memory loss.
crazy,
From the
going
stasis?
crazy about the Switch 2.
He could barely remember his name.
And I'm trying to
Nothing at all about what happened
pull
to
back
Earth
the
or
reins
White
on my
Whale.
son and his excitement for
I
it.
see.
Because
Though, come to think of it, the
it's
entire
like we have a
models
lot
have
of
only
work to
been
do
on
on the
this planet for what,
PlayStation.
2
on the
months?
Nintendo Switch 1.
It shouldn't take very long to get caught up.
And he
My
has a
thoughts
PlayStation 5 and it's like, yeah, man, son, I can't invest in that right
Well
now,
then,
so
Where should we begin?
getting games are about to cost $100 each, they saying. I can't do it. How did we end up in Mira?
It started at the end.
So,
2 years ago. The end.
I'm gonna start
of
playing the
Earth.
videos to get through
The
them.
casualty of a
I'm gonna
battle
turn the
between
volume
two
down on this
hyper-advanced alien
and
civilizations.
watch and play it in the background.
Their
And
technology and weapons were.
this is a
We were like
epic
infants,
game.
Naked,
As you can see, it's post
The Earth was
destruction of the
reduced to
Earth.
ash.
So we'll say this is
blown
the
away.
future, and we'll say it's past. It has to be further than Starfleet, right? So
wonder if I
this
hadn't
is the
been
end of Starfleet,
Maybe all of this could have
right?
somehow
When they
been
blew up the
avoided.
Earth.
No one can know that, Elma.
No, that
What
wasn't
we do
the
know
Earth.
is without
The
you,
the
there'd
the
have been
second
no Project Exodus.
Star Trek, the
and no
newest
escape
Star Trek
for any of
movies
us.
was the destruction of
Did it
Vulcan.
go perfectly?
for anybody that's familiar with Star Trek,
We are here,
Vulcan got
we
destroyed.
are
That's
alive.
Spock's home
We
planet.
survived.
So it was more of a story of the destruction of
So yes,
Spock's
Project
home
Exodus.
planet and the results of that. This
Once
is
we
more
learned
so
the
the
Earth might be
destruction of
threatened,
Earth.
We
So
needed a plan to preserve
this
all
is,
her various life forms.
Star
That
Trek
plan
X in so
was
many
the
words,
Earth-life
you know.
colonization project,
It's the future where Star
otherwise known
Wars
as
is the
Project
past.
Exodus.
For those that's not really aware, like, you know, Star Wars happened a long, long time
Those of
ago
us who
in a
escaped
galaxy
on the
far,
White
far
Whale
away
spent
or
over
something like
2
that.
years wandering in space.
And
2
so that's
hard
why that
years.
that series or
But we
that
clung to our mission. Find a
storytelling
habitable planet and settle there.
is
We had
more
no idea
fantasy.
how long it would take.
And Star Trek has always been more
War.
science
The
fiction.
decision would eventually
Even though
be made
Star
for
Wars
us.
has a lot of science fiction
the
in it,
xenoforms found us again.
it's
Well,
treated
it
more
wasn't
so
a
of
happy
a
reunion.
lost. Even this
Earth wasn't enough.
series
They wanted humanity
did that, I
destroyed.
think. Because Xenoblade,
For better
like the
and for
first
worse,
Xenoblade,
we were close to planet Mira when we lost control of the White Whale.
it
Inertia
was
and
after the
gravity
landing on the
took
island, but we didn't know their
The ship had
original
taken way too
planet.
much damage to
kind of a
survive
thing.
entering the atmosphere
So
intact.
this one is saying that
had
Earth
no
is the
choice.
original
We
planet.
channeled all the power
So
we had
I don't
left
think
to
it was
soft
meant
land
that
the
all of
habitat.
them was from the original planet was Earth. Like, you know, and in some, you know, there's different
Once the
Earths,
dust
and you
cleared,
know,
we
some
set to work
call Earth
transforming
Terra
it into
and
its
things
current
like that when
state.
you're dealing in
Searching
the
for
science
survivors,
fiction or the science
establishing Blade,
fantasy
installing a provisional government.
department of
Basically,
storytelling.
making
So
it a sustainable
I've rambled enough, and y'all seen enough, and you know, what I mean, that's my John right there. You know what I mean? My video John. So I'm gonna play a little bit more. Have it play in the background. I'm gonna start off with Sabby Sab because I mean I can elaborate on Al Sharpton, and I'll do that later. I'll do that after I play Sabby first. So let's get started with this. Let's turn this down some and mute my mic and have some fun.
No, but you can sell your items online. Like I said, most of us that have YouTube political shows have merch, and we sell our merch on another platform. And yes, they do get a percentage, but Target is getting a percentage from her anyway.
It's a relatively new.
Like I'm not feeling this.
Up there in space,
I'm
we
not-
had
I'm not
plenty
feeling
of
this.
provisions and a crew trained
This
to
is giving
handle
me
the limited
like
amount of
sellout
situations
vibes, and
we
I don't
might
like it.
encounter in our travels.
I don't like it at all.
But of course,
That's
all that
scab
changed
behavior.
after we lost most of our ship and
It
came
crossed the
crashing
picket
down
line, but
here
only
on
cross it from me.
Earth. We needed food.
Come
water,
over there and cross the
search and
picket
rescue
line
teams,
and come over to me.
surveyors, police.
So
The
Tabitha
list
is
goes
trying to
on
look
and on.
out for
It's too
Tabitha.
much for the provisional government to manage on its own.
Way to
Blade was born.
try to be a barrier
Was to have one central organization
against the boycott movement, right? Whether you agree with what Target is doing or not, like I've participated in boycotts. Hell, I haven't shopped at Target in a long time. I'm trying to remember the last time I went to Target. I think Target's overpriced any damn way. That's part of the reason why I stopped shopping there, but I haven't been there in a long time, right? If I want paper towels, I can get them at the grocery store. In fact, the grocery store down the street from me, the paper towels are cheaper there than they are at Target. So I don't really need you, Tarjay. I don't really need you. Okay. Now Al Sharpton comes in because he had an idea. Al Sharpton has this idea of, you know what? Yep, let's boycott Target. Okay.
All housed in a structure called the Life.
But where does he take the people?
This is a complete
Let's
schematic
chime in
of the
here,
facility.
and then you'll see this activity take place actually.
Essential
Organized, because we must remember we only got those rights won in the first place because we fought, which is why we've been methodical and strategic. But we intend to boycott some of these companies, but we're going to do it strategically. And today, those that are with us, I took over 100 people from our regular Saturday National Action Network rally, and we went shopping in Costco's because they say, no, we're not going to be with the president. We're going to keep DEI. So we need to reward and be with our friends and our enemies. You don't want diversity in the office space, then you should have diversity in your consumer base.
priority now is locating the missing.
So Al Sharpton decided to take the people to Costco. Now, I know what some people are going to say. Well, maybe that's the only other business in the community that he could have taken them to. Okay, whatever. Here's my thing, fam. If you're going to boycott Target and you want people to shop elsewhere, why aren't you redirecting all of those Black people to Black-owned businesses? A lot of Black-owned businesses are online. So even if it's not in the community, it's accessible online. Come on, everybody's online nowadays. Give me a break. If you can buy from Amazon,
It's not all bad.
you can go onto these Black-owned businesses that have websites, go onto their websites, and you can buy from them. And a lot of people are buying from Amazon. So he decides to take them to Costco, and you have to see this in action. And then I'm going to tell you why Costco was not a good idea. Shout out to
Yes, sir.
Olita Scooter Caster.
Keep this briefing brief.
Rev Al Sharpton and 100 supporters marched through Costco for this. So here's Al Sharpton. And let me bring everybody over to Costco. Instead of bringing them to other Black-owned businesses, let me bring them to a business that I feel said they're going to keep their DEI initiatives, but who owns the business? You see what I'm saying? So watch this. See, this is why I'm really upset when I saw this video, because the people in the video probably don't know. And this is where someone like Al Sharpton, with the platform that he has, instead of leading people in the right direction and getting them to turn the tide, he takes them to another businesses that's white owned. What if Costco changes their policy tomorrow? Then what?
Not every day we're authorized to let a
Right.
civilian tour the administrative.
So he has them come in here and they believe he's told them like, hey, they like us. They want us here. Do they? Does Costco really? How much does Costco really care
It's got everything
about the Black community? We'll see when we take a look at Costco's numbers.
Shopping for justice.
And everybody's smiling and they're all being misled. And this just pisses me off. And it makes me like, we really have to have these conversations within the Black community. We have to have these conversations about, it's not even just about owning the product and saying, I'm starting a business and this is my product. Remember what I told you last year? If you don't own the building, if you don't own the property, if you don't own the warehouse space where the goods are coming from, you don't really own it. You belong, your stuff still belongs to somebody else. And the moment you piss them off or they change their mind, they can go in a different direction. And now you ain't got no place to have your products. So we have to have a strong conversation about this within the Black community. I really don't like this. Al Sharpton pissed me off and apparently pissed off other people too. Now, this is what I said here. Why not support Black-owned businesses instead? There's only one Black member on Costco's board of directors. There are 4 white women on the board. Their DEI went to white women, just like many other businesses. So this is what I was trying, the message that I'm trying to get across to people. Wow, that actually got a lot of, a lot of likes, 1.9K likes. Anyway, the message that I'm trying to get across, because if you look at Costco, we'll go to Nina first. Nina, I feel, did it the right way. Nina Turner said, we can either send Target a clear message now or be quiet and allow corporations to use allyship when it's convenient. My organization, Strike for All, is calling on working class solidarity, boycott Target, and let's build a movement that stands at the intersection of race and class. I'm gonna highlight this word solidarity because there is none. even over here sometimes on the left. Because I'm sitting back and I'm waiting to see, and I've been looking, I'm waiting to see how many of the white leftist commentators are sending this message to their audience. Because a lot of times us black folk on the left are left alone. So she said this here. This is what, so she went ahead and pushed this initiative starting February 1st. We Are Somebody is calling a mass boycott on all Target stores. And she put this here that they're rolling it out. Boycott Target, only by minority owned businesses. So she's focused on minority owned. Someone put in the chat, what about the brown business? Yeah, she's focusing on minority owned businesses. And if I remember correctly, I think she added more. Yeah, she posts the names of them here. So this is another step that she took. The following brands are black and other minority owned companies that we need to support through the boycott. So she listed all the names. So again, this is what I'm saying. Why didn't Al Sharpton do that? Instead of telling everybody, let's just go over to Costco, why didn't he do this? Here's where you can still find these black owned, and it's not just Target. There are a lot of black businesses that most people don't know about because they don't receive national recognition. And a lot of times smaller businesses, right, that you just don't know about. And then we have to have that conversation about ownership, right? So shout out to Nina for going that route. Because like I said, Al Sharpton, why didn't you even tell them the businesses that are at Target, there's Tabitha Brown right there, so they can purchase their goods directly from their websites instead of taking them to Target, right? So I feel like as a community, we really gotta, I don't know, man, we gotta do some work. See, you see here, like Chicago French, Penny's Tea, all that kind of stuff. So we have to get organized as a community. And then we got to go back to ownership, because I said this. Remember back in the day, I was watching Tupac thing earlier today. Remember back in the day, like, you know, Suge had like Death Row. He owned Death Row. Diddy owns Bad Boy. A lot of times, like when you look at what we own, even in the music industry, while black artists and producers may own the label, we don't own the company. So those labels still have to answer to Arista or Universal Music Group, Sony. Like we don't. So we have to educate ourselves and work together to have full ownership, where we don't just own the label, we own the company, we own the building, we own the property. We own the website platform that it's being distributed on, and it doesn't belong to somebody else, and we got to give them a share. Things like that, right? Now, I say this because the Costco board of directors, this is where he took them to. He said they still keeping DEI intact. Let's see what it looks like, honey. Let's see what it looks like at Costco. Look at the board of directors at Costco. It's the board. Okay. Now, so far, we have one black member. That's Kenneth. Let's continue. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. So what you have for the board of directors at Costco, you have the one black member, and then you have one, two,
Not only for your personal armor and weapons, what we call ground,
three,
but for scale equipment as well.
four white women.
Can you imagine owning your own scale?
Because what have I said over and over again on the show since we started talking about DEI? It mainly benefited white women. That's where Al wanted them to go. So you got to see that. And then I want you to see the other numbers as well. Because look at this. Because you know I had to pull up the data, fam. I had to pull up the data. So let's look at Costco's workforce. All right, because they love diversity, right? Look at the total workforce diversity at Costco. Okay. 45.8% is white, 31.8% is Latino, 9.3% is Black/African American. Okay. So they may still support DEI initiatives, but again, who is it for? We can look a little further. You can see it here. There's the numbers for you that I just gave to you. The transparency score. It says there are 11 companies from the consumer staples sector. Among them, Costco ranks 10th. There are 11 companies. Costco ranks 10th for Black African American diversity. That's the company he took. Nobody did any research. Come on, Al. Like, what is happening here? It just, so there's that. We'll go on. I'm telling you, I'm not joking. I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Board member diversity. So you can see this here again, right? So blue is race, ethnicity. Black is gender diversity. And then there's total diversity here, which is orange, right? Notice gender diversity is higher. This is what I was trying to tell you. These positions are mainly going to white women. Their board of directors is 90.9% white. Like, I'm not making up these numbers. Let's go into more. If we talk about the title of Chief Diversity Officer, this is another one I like to point out to people. This is an example, not specifically Costco, but an example of a Chief Diversity Officer. When you look at the statistics, let's go down to the numbers, fam. Bow chicka wow wow. The demographics. The majority of people in the US that have the title Chief Diversity Officer are white. 76.1. This is what I've been telling people. Like, why you, how many Black people? 3.8%. That is it. So this is why I continue to say, if anybody should be raging right now, it's probably white women. Because you guys about to get hit. Listen to this guy here. He said, when DEI isn't what you thought it was. This is kind of funny.
Okay, so this is hilarious. I just saw this white lady on here complaining that she just lost her job because she was hired under the diversity, equity, and inclusion program at her work. And you can see she didn't want to say it, but she really wanted to be like, but I'm not Black. But that's not what diversity, equity, inclusion meant. The #1 recipient of DEI hires is white women. The #1 people who have benefited the most from this whole affirmative action and DEI hired has been white women, 100%. And now all these white women who voted for Donald Trump are going to find out that DEI included them. And I'm sorry, but this is one of the best fuck around and find out moments yet. Because these women are the ones who deserve to be fired. I'm sorry. Like, if you voted for Donald Trump and you get fired because you were a DEI hire, don't come looking to me for sympathy.
So this is the part that a lot of people are just not aware. That's what I keep telling you guys. So Al Sharpton is a useful tool for the establishment. You see, it's Al Sharpton's job is to make the Black community believe that things are better than they are. And if they're not, especially under a Republican administration, see, everybody want to go out to the streets and fight now that Trump's in office. But when shit was happening under Biden and Kamala, people were like, give them a chance. At least it's not Trump. Just give them a chance. Don't like talk back to them. Don't disrespect them. All those types of things. So as a useful tool that Al Sharpton is, he is the one to come out to the Black community and tell you, you know what? Yes, let's do a boycott. Okay, cool. Have no problem with that. Like I said, I've participated in boycotts before. But instead of redirecting that energy into something that is going to help the Black community, that mofo redirects you to Costco.
And before I let me do the fair use. Before I elaborate on everything, and I only think I'm planning on doing, I got a couple videos to run through. So I'm just running the videos, playing the game, and I'll make a follow-up video. Like, I mean, because it's not like it's a lot of information, but to those that are outside of the foundational Black American community, y'all really don't know what's going on. Like, all y'all are consuming is, we're minions for Tariq Nasheed. And I'm not making these videos to say that y'all are minions of not Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, right? I'm not saying that y'all minions of him, but Al Sharpton is who the Democrats use as the head of the Black Caucus, right? Every you need a leader. So they use Al Sharpton as the leader of the Black Caucus. Period. We don't use Tariq Nasheed as the leader. Tariq Nasheed is a movie maker, and he's just made a movie called, Microphone Check. And I didn't get a chance to see the movie yet. I'm sure it's a pretty good movie. But everybody outside of the community wants to point at him because Jason Black isn't as well known, even though he's a movie maker too. Professor Black Truth, who I'm gonna share some of his video today, one of his little bit of his video. So that's why I don't want to get too long-winded on all the players in the game. There's too many to really name, and I'm pretty much just sharing some that's around. Sabby is one of the, she's good. I like her page. I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna share a copy in the link, and you can go check out the whole video yourself where she's explaining Al Sharpton and the she's saying it as nice as possible. I'm gonna tell you the truth. The ignorance of boycotting one white company to take them to another white company and completely ignore all of these smaller Black companies. And all of us that we are creating content online, we're setting up our own online businesses and trying to communicate, and we're trying to build our networks. That's how we build net worth. But if we're canceling each other, if that's the goal, is to cancel all the Black businesses, like, I don't want to cancel Al Sharpton, but Al Sharpton is supposed to be in a position of power to trickle down some of that cash to these smaller businesses so that we can build up our business. Like, I need new microphones. So, hit the like button, subscribe, share, donate to $ Volothamp. But every time that I say that, it's the haters are going to attack me like you're begging for cash. You're the problem, right? But if I walk to the store right now, there's going to be immigrants outside of the store begging for cash. And it's like, well, you should give them some cash. Like, I don't have it, right? I'm about to go next to them and beg with them, and then give them, some of what we get, in begging, right? But I'm blessed enough to be online to, hey, this is what me and my son is building. We're building a Nintendo network. So if y'all want to, link up, hit me up. You can even inbox me on my, my thing. If I see it, I'll connect you back. Hit the like button and like your content, like my content. My content is going to be different because I am hip hop. That's an American culture created by the children of the 1960 Civil Rights Movement. So when I'm talking about is John F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. That's my politics. That triad right there. Yes, I've talked about Stokely Carmichael and how he changed his name to Kwame Ture, and a lot of his philosophies in Africanism, right? And I agree with some and disagree with others. Just like Tariq, we agree with some of his things he do. We disagree, right? But then therein is like, who's the leader? Who's the hierarchy? I give it to Jason Black. He's the Black authority. Go ahead. He's in charge of that. So that's who I say is our quote unquote leader, right? But we're so conceptualized with having a leader, and then we have to what? We, as a community, we have to protect the leader. They have the same issue over at the Hip Hop Alliance. I'm saying that's the culture. Hip Hop Alliance is the culture, and Chuck D is the president. So we have to protect Chuck D. Yes, we can ask Chuck D, yo, man, I'm not supporting them Democrats this time, right? Easy. Cool. I got my vote. All right, cool. We not supporting them. Queen Latifah and MC Light supported her. They still my sisters, right? But then, look, sisters, see how bad she made y'all look. Look, Michelle Obama, look how bad she made you look because y'all went out of order. That 92%, that's part of the problem. Sabby's starting to understand because she voted for Jill Stein. I voted for Jill Stein in 2016. Once you're the president, it's all right, you're always the president, so we might as well keep rolling with, right? Trump is over in 4 years. So we have to find a candidate for 2028. Right? Doesn't matter, they Democrat, Republican, Green Party. We have to find a candidate that's going to help our interest. Right? That's the goal. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Instead of fighting each other because they fighting. The so-called white supremacists, right? The white superiority or whatever y'all want to call it. Right? Stop thinking like mental slaves. We have to start thinking of like free men, freemen. We're like free, we're free, right? We have to start thinking more like we're equal to them, right? And we have to think about justice. What is justice? Well, let's start with the 10 Commandments, right? If we follow that, then we can uphold anybody else to a higher standard. But if we're not living by our own 10 Commandments, why are you judging him anyway, right? If you're not doing it, I know I'm doing it as to the best of my knowledge. And if we want to rap battle about it, we can rap battle about it. I ain't got a problem with rap battling you. But all this pointing at him, I hate him, I hate him, I hate him. That's why I'm not trying to do that with Al Sharpton. But Al Sharpton, you're old. It's time to retire. We don't want to cancel you, but shut up. Right? You still talking like a pimp, and you pimping your people to go from one white corporation to the next white corporation, and we talking about, yo, what's up with these black corporations, right? We've been here. We are the people that have been here the longest. That's actually what Trump said when he said that the 15th Amendment was for black people. This is our land. We were born here. It is our right to citizenship. So yeah, we don't, necessarily want our British Island brothers to get deported, right? Even though they the British Islands, but the U.S. Virgin Islands, that they are people. They can come and go as they please. I'm trying to get down to St. Croix, right? I'm trying to visit Puerto Rico. I've been to Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic, it's not a U.S. territory, right? They their own land, or they their own republic. So I don't have any citizenship rights to go there, but I do have citizenship rights to go to Puerto Rico. I do have citizenship rights to go to St. Croix. Do I need a passport? Maybe, right? But therein is the new IDs that they're working on. Where what is a passport now? How are you to be identified amongst the whole world? But first and foremost, it's supposed to be my own land. This is supposed to be my citizenship. So I'm gonna share a little bit of this is Detroit HP coming up next, and he's gonna share a little bit of TD hip hop. So I'm gonna share some more TD hip hop in the future too. And I'm running a little bit over time. I don't care. This might just be a long video. Make a long video, and then I'll make a short one later on. But it's a lot that they have to get off of their chest in order for y'all to understand what I'm talking politically, especially if I'm pulling out, hey, This is what me and my son is working on. The Bill of Rights, the very first one says freedom of speech. So I don't deny my son freedom of speech in my house. Whatever you want to say, son. All right, cool. And then I give him, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding so that he can achieve freedom, justice, and equality. And it's all right, cool, Dad. I'm gonna go do that. And he comes right back home with straight A's. Then hey, let's go for a walk together. Let's ride the bikes together. Let me get my body, my physical. You know what I mean? I'm doing good with my mental. I did good with my physical. All right, cool. What do you want to do right now, Dad? Oh, hey, I'm going to read this verse from the Bible. Let's work on the spiritual. That's how it works. All of this, all these women with single mothers that want to, I'm going to take him over here. I'm going to take him to this guy. I'm going to take him. It's like, that's the problem. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't understand the brotherhood of man. So if y'all understand the brotherhood of man, how in the world you want to understand the fatherhood of God? And y'all think y'all on some motherhood of goddess. And I see y'all fighting more so than the men. I'm just keeping it 100. So that was Sabby. Y'all need to listen to more Sabby. Sabby's cool. Made good. Stop messing with her. But when we brothers and sisters, we can play like that. Like I said, Sabby does need to work on her. And I turned down let me see. I turned down the capture. Let me turn that up just for a second, because I want to see how that works when I rewatch this, to see what I need to do and not do to make because I don't have my setup is still messed up. Like I need a good microphone still. Where was I headed? I don't even know where I was headed now. Y'all see anything glowing or anything? Oh, okay, there it is. Oh, so I'm supposed to go here. Okay, so like I was saying, I'm still working on all that technique stuff. So hit the like button, subscribe, share. This is fair use by the 1976 copyright laws for educational purposes. Yes, more information about. I think this is Al Sharpton. I gotta replay and look at. I think he touches Al Sharpton. He might touch on DEI a little bit. I think they're talking about on the immigrants being deported and which ones and things of that nature. But it's a combination of Detroit HD and TD hip hop. They Detroit HD is a Gen Xer like myself. Hip hop, that original hip hop generation, and TD I think might be a millennial. He might be around 1980. I say baby, whatever. A young man, should I say? And but he puts in good work too, and I do want to share more of his stuff. He used to call himself TD Hip Hop. Now it's TD Media Source, because we allowed them to define what our culture and community is. That's the problem with these political parties. We allowed them to redefine us, and now all they doing is when they talk bad about the community and culture, they point at hip hop. Hence, right? They destroyed our community and culture mentally. Even though I share the dopest lyrics with y'all that can take your life into another level of understanding, psychology, philosophy, and metaphysical awareness. Like we on that. That's what hip hop has always been to me. Like I didn't listen to Shake Buddy Buddy Boo Booty. I wasn't even down with OPP, to be honest. I would sit on my side and listen to my Chuck D, my KRS One, even LL has some very positive songs. That's what I used to get on him about on Twitter, and that's why he blocked me. but he's still my man. I love LL Cool J. So here's another one, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. And I had to chop this one up because they kept popping commercials and how many minutes in? I'm running over. I'm running over. So let me get right to it.
I did a story earlier today where I pointed out how Trump and Holman have found almost 80,000 of the missing children. There were 325 children estimated to be missing through the southern border and through trafficking. Now, this all happened under Biden and Kamala Harris' watch, with Kamala Harris being the border czar. with these people never locating the kids. These people are telling you consistently that the things you're hearing are misinformation, that Trump was lying to you. They even told you that the Trinidad Aragua gang out of Venezuela wasn't actually taking over apartment complexes in people's homes. They told you that these people that they let across the border were all just good citizens looking to find a better life. But if that's the case, why didn't they come the right way?
Does it arrival?
Correct. He stopped by while you were out on your tour. He said he'll come back, but that I shouldn't wait to ask you.
Here we go. I bet I can guess.
You probably can. He wants to fast-track our new friend here for blade duty with a training assignment. What in the hell are we waiting for?
See, you don't sneak in somebody's back door and then say you have good intentions. So
Even my pitch sounds smooth.
this is still like Trump's first week.
I explained about the memory issue.
Guess what they found in Colorado?
And to be honest,
Not only did they find Trinidad Aragua gang members, they found cartel members and drugs, enough drugs to destroy a community. You think of all of the fentanyl that people lost their lives to, along with the trafficking and all the missing children. You think of all the benefits that they gave these illegal immigrants. They gave them bridge cars up to $1,200, gave them housing, gave them a leg up on our black community and white community and Hispanic community of Americans. Now, I want you to think about the fact that they knew this. Biden and Harris knew that there was over 325,000 missing children. They knew that not only were there cartel members that came across their border and gang members and ex-criminals and villains, they let them in deliberately. They opened the back door on us. What were they setting us up for? Now you have to wonder about these stories I did today. Why isn't Roland Martin, Joy Reid, Angela Rye, D.L. Hughley, why isn't any other so-called black media talking about these stories? They're all talking about Al Sharpton boycotting Target. They're all still playing the race card, race baiting. They all still are supporting the LGBTQ community agenda, but they're not telling you any of the things that's being found out. They're not even talking about Martin Luther King file that's been exposed. So you mean to tell me that not only is mainstream media hiding information from the people, but your so-called independent black journalists and media people who are on the Democratic left are concealing information as well. You can't trust any of them. They're not going to tell you that almost 80,000 children were found, that they're finding these gang members and these people who came across this country, came into this country with all kind of criminal intent, all type of malice. So they're not just going to tell y'all that, but you're still logging on because you want to hear that same old, same old. You're still listening to those Negro preachers and pastors and bishops who are in lockstep with the Democratic Party. Apostate preachers who have sold their souls for 501c3s. Well, check this story out. This is for fair use under the 1976 Copyright Act for education and commentary. And this is from my man from the TD Media Group. Check out this story.
She doesn't even know what's going on. You have these people, extremely dangerous and extremely violent illegal immigrants that have cartel ties, living right next door. And this woman is in complete shock. She had no clue what was going on. She had no clue that these people were her neighbors. She had no clue that Biden and Harris let the devil to her doorstep. What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. You won't miss a notification if you're actually following me on Telegram. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today, we have to head on over to Colorado because Trump and Holman are doing exactly what they said they were going to do when on the campaign trail, Trump stated that he was going to go to Colorado.
Interject for 1 minute while and then go back to this story. The news breaking story over here is ICE conducts raids in cities as Chicago and Newark resist Trump's immigration crackdown. Now I want you to see this. Chicago, that's Brandon Johnson.
Check-in time is 3.
It's 2:55.
Democrat. Then you got the Newark Democrat. They resisting the immigration crackdown as we speak. Now watch what they're resisting.
Colorado and clean up shop. Campaign promises are being fulfilled because I believe it was over the weekend. It might have been Sunday morning, if I'm not mistaken, early morning, Sunday morning in Colorado. There was a Terrain de Aragua party, a private TDA party, in which ICE raided the party and arrested 50 TDA gang members, removing the public safety threats away from the citizen population. Let's get into this first news clip first, and then I'll elaborate a little bit more on the story as we move forward.
Federal agents raided a party being hosted by Trin de Aragua early this morning along Federal Boulevard.
Over 4 dozen people have been detained, and our investigative reporter, Tony Kovaleski, started getting some tips to him late last night, got up really early this morning, and headed straight there. Tony, thank you so much for being with us. You're coming straight from that scene. Can you break down exactly what you're hearing from those in charge?
Well, here's what we were told and what we learned, and actually a long-term operation that culminated last night, started about 9 o'clock. Arrests started happening about 3 in the morning. We got there a little bit after 5, and show you pictures now. This was North Federal Boulevard, 6600 block. You can see federal agents, DEA agents, also supported by Adams County Sheriff. That's a federal bus where the detention took place, and that's where the detainees are walked in right now. You can see some of them. We're told by the DEA many were members of Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelan gang. About 50 people detained and being processed right now. They were taken out in that bus after a long-term operation. Again, the 6600 block of North Federal. It started happening about 9 last night. According to the special agent in charge, this was an invitation-only party for TDA. Okay. They were there partying inside. They did say that they found drugs inside, cocaine, and a new street drug that's out there. No word yet of any fentanyl or amounts of money, but this is an operation that we're told the DEA has been watching closely for several weeks. They moved in last night. The arrest happened, as we said, at 3 in the morning. They continued processing that bus, pulling out a little bit after 6. You can see it's a pre-dawn hour. We counted more than 4 dozen people on that bus as they pulled away. ICE was involved. This was a multi-federal operation, and they are now processing, looking at backgrounds of all of the individuals and making decisions on what is next.
Yep. Let this really sit on your mind for a moment, right? We were told that what was happening in Colorado concerning Terrain de Aragua gang members taking over apartment complexes, we were told that that was a figment of our imagination. Quite literally, we were told that. Quite literally, we were told that none of this stuff was real and that it was actually happening. despite the video footage that showed otherwise, despite the video footage that showed TDA kicking in doors, breaking off door handles with huge machetes while walking around the apartment complexes with long guns out in Aurora, right? We were told that it was fake. And then to the degree that mainstream media was forced to admit it, well, let me make that correction. To the degree that the DNC mainstream media was forced to admit that it was real, they played it off as if it was no big deal. Had Harris had won, these people would have still been free. They would have still been free, terrorizing Colorado. Thank goodness we dodged a bullet.
And had Harris won, this almost 80,000 children that were found the other day would still be missing. Think about that. Under Biden-Harris, 325,000 estimated children vanished. 1 week of Trump being in office, almost 80,000 have been found. And Trinidad Aragua. What would 4 more years of Harris have looked like with her and Biden? Because they're one and the same. And I keep saying, these shields, they know these stories just like I do. Their platform and reach is way bigger than mine. Why they won't talk about what's really going on? About who's being caught in these raids. I showed you yesterday who got caught in Chicago raids. Now look what they're finding. They want you to think that this is some type of situation that they can scream racism, misogyny, the same usual thing. But these are the villains and criminals that they allowed in through the border, bringing drugs, trafficking people, while at the same time, they was pushing termination of pregnancy all the way to the 8th and 9th month, anti-God, anti-family, anti-country rhetoric, destruction of the nuclear family, overthrowing patriarchy, and blasphemy. Think about who these people really were, who these people really are. No wonder they need all these blanket pardons.
With Kamala Harris. Now, outside of this, also in Colorado, I believe in Denver to be exact, 2 men with cartel ties were busted and taken away by ICE also. And if I'm not mistaken, they found about 130,000 fentanyl pills. That is insane. 130K fentanyl pills. Unbelievable. Once again, these people are just running free under the Democrats. But let's get into this story right now.
Denver 7 investigative reporter Natalie Chuck has been following the federal agency's movements all weekend long, including to a location today.
So, Natalie, DEA says 2 undocumented immigrants were arrested in southeast Denver today. They have connections, they say, to 2 violent Mexican drug cartels. So what is the latest on that one?
Well, first of all, guys, it's very scary information to have to break to the people who do live in this apartment building behind us. Those 2 people were arrested at the building right behind me. We are located at an apartment just off of Quebec Street and Mississippi Avenue. And those DEA agents today, most of them were here in unmarked cars, but still neighbors knew something was going on. This video, given to Denver 7 Investigates from an anonymous neighbor, showing a cluster of federal agents with the Drug Enforcement Administration. It was captured just after a raid at this apartment building. 2 people in the country illegally were arrested and will be charged. The DEA seizing 130,000 fentanyl pills, cocaine, meth, and heroin.
Oh my goodness. I thought it was just fentanyl pills. They just had the whole...
So you mean to tell me that they were allowing them to come in with these amount of drugs, large amounts of drugs, into our communities with weapons and gangs, and they want to distract you with Al Sharpton boycotting Target?
And there it is, right? And I'm over here having fun with the Wii U. I'm playing this on the Wii U. This is the Wii U version of the game. It's supposed to come out for the Switch. Now on the Wii U version, I just showed y'all the they put the gamepad on the screen. So what's on the screen is what's on my gamepad is different than the screen. As opposed to the Switch. Once you undock it, like you're playing it in your hand mode, but it's just that screen. What this two-screen system allows it to happen is your gamepad becomes, some of your items is like things that you can get while pausing the game, and then other things is like these emotes that I have. I can animate my character to do different things via the same way that I was doing with Animal Crossing. But I can only see it on my gamepad and playing around with it that way. I can be enraged. I can, I'm so angry, right? And I guess this was supposed to be part of the network kind of a thing. I could sit down, different ways and stuff. And then the one I started with was Salute. So if when I'm trying to explain dual screen like the Nintendo DS and some of the functionalities that we have over here with the Wii U that you can't simulate on a handheld only or a dock only system like the Switch. That was what made the Wii U so unique, and that's why we're suggesting or thinking about how can they make the Switch kind of like what PlayStation is doing with their handheld thing, where the handheld is basically a controller, like they copying off of the Wii, what the Wii U did. But now you can, I think you can kind of put it online a little bit, but I'm not interested in all the peripherals of the PlayStation 5 right now. I'm more so into Switch gaming, Apple gaming, and PC gaming. Those are the three that I'm working on. And then my classic gaming, like either through emulation using my Raspberry Pis or the actual consoles that I got laying around here. So there it is. That's in a nutshell talking about that. I'll get more into what Detroit was saying a little later. I let them be the voice right now. I'm gonna put a link in the description so y'all can go check it out and study. You know what I mean? Because then don't come to my page. I'm trying to have a nice discussion about hardware and computer science. Like those are the things I'd rather talk. I'd rather talk about playing chess and learning how to play chess together than talk about how stupid Donald Trump is when y'all really don't know what you're talking about. You're sounding like Al Sharpton. You sounding like D.L. Hughley. You sounding real ignorant like Mark Lamar Hill. Like I'm just keeping it 100. All of these, LGBTQIA first people. It's like, yo, we shouldn't even be talking about that around the children. Like, no, parents are supposed to teach their children about the birds and the bees, not no school system. Not no two men that, adopt two, that are quote unquote married and adopt two children down in Atlanta and then get 100 years in prison. Right? That's supposed to be the death penalty, right? They're supposed to get the death penalty. I'm just keeping it 100, and then y'all fearful for the children when y'all, and then the Democrats are saying how much the right hates that community, which is different than hip hop community. That LGBT community, that's not hip hop community. That's not the foundational Black Americans. That's not what we're about, right? So that's why I kind of get mad at Tariq when he started talking about being buck and all that stuff. Like, yo, stop that, dude. Like yes, that did happen to a few of the slaves, but that still is not part of why we're mentally, why Tyler Perry's mentally messed up in the head. Tyler Perry is an actor. He's not pretending. He's becoming Medea. He wants to, right? He wants to be the old grandmother. He's becoming that mentally. That's what he practices. Right? We practice brotherhood, manhood, fatherhood. That's what we practice. And that's what we get from God, right? All of this, marry another man, adopt 2 boys, and get 100 years in jail, and then the media doesn't want to talk about it, or they want to say, well, that's only one case, but then on the same tip, trying to lock up all these rappers for being down with OPP. Yes, all I can do is say, yo, we need to stop this OPP stuff. When OPP is out, I was still listening to X Clan. But then when I started talking about X Clan and Brother Jay and how we forget to mention him in the top 5, right? X Clan is definitely top 5. I consider them Boogie Down Production, right? So when I say my 5th is Boogie Down Production, I'm kind of including X Clan. In fact, I am including X Clan. BDP X Clan. Now, that's the cross now, right? Number 5, BDP X Clan. There it is. That's my new 5. All right? KRS-One might not like it. I don't care. I'll battle KRS-One. I don't care. That's the teacher. But I love him, right? So this next one is Demetra Kay. So I'm going to share a little bit of her video. She's with the African diaspora. That's Philip Scott, I think his name is. That's his podcast and people. So I'm going to share a little bit of her. And then I'm going to end it off with Professor Black Truth. And then I'm going to, enjoy the rest of my day and the rest of my life. All right? So here's one and then another. This is fair use still. I'll play a little bit more of this video game. Y'all can check it out. And, hit the like button, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff.
Conclusion that in 2028, the Democrat Party is going to lose again. Now, of course, for me, I didn't vote for the Democrat Party because of their continuous benign neglect of the black community while helping everybody else, right? That was like my number one reason. But the other reason that I did not vote for the Democrat Party is because I wanted to stick it to the Democrats for bullying people that do not want to be Democrats, did not want to vote for Kamala or anybody else, right? And here we are. Yes, Donald Trump is in the White House and he's going to do what he's going to do, but yet the Democrats continue to bully people. If they hear about somebody wanting to do something other than what the Democrats are doing, they go bully them. They hear that somebody went to an inauguration event, they bully them. And they're going to remind people as to why they went against Kamala. It wasn't just because she didn't have anything to offer, or in other words, it wasn't just because she had Joy and Vibes concerts where she invited Megan Thee Stallion to shake her booty. It wasn't because she had Beyonce and Kelly rolling up there talking about we're mothers and all this other stuff. No, it wasn't just because of that. It was because the operatives in the Democrat Party, whether they're Democrat shows on television or whether they're just on social media, felt like it was their duty to bully people. And their mantra was, democracy's in danger. We got to protect it from Trump. But now, if you just sit back and watch, it's the Democrats that are continually trying to endanger the democracy of everybody else. Democracy means you have a say-so. Now, let's keep it real. We know that black Americans have never had a say-so in America, but let's pretend that we did, right? So if a black American says, hey, you know what? Let me go on over here and see what Trump is talking about. Oh, my God, you're the worst person. You need to be canceled, right? They get their little pitchforks and they get together and they, organize against whatever person it may be. And so if you're like me, you're reminding me as to why I need to not vote for the Democrats again in 2028 because, y'all don't have anything to offer black Americans. And I'm not saying that the Republicans do either, but again, they never say that they will, right? The Democrats do. But it's just because your attitudes are horrible and you are now blue MAGA to where you think it's your job to terrorize people because they do not think like you. So keep on. If you think that the Democrats lost in 2024, you just wait to 2028. Anyway, y'all let me know what you think of that. And for more insightful commentary, please subscribe to this.
And yeah, I just wanted to show y'all one of the big monsters. See how big this thing is, right? And this ain't even no but the biggest. Like when I really get out here in the wilderness, well, they get huge. You know what I mean? That's what made this game so unique. But when I first came up on it, you could see that all of there's so much information, and this is running off a disc. That's why Nintendo kind of went back to cartridge, is because they get a little faster transfer speeds. They don't have a spinning disc and having to read. You know what I mean? So everybody was laughing at Nintendo for trying to continue on with hard discs, you know, quote unquote, that kind of hardware, a cartridge system. And, you know, everybody's going to just straight solid state drives now. Hence, we're turning into digital media only, where you don't have to go to the store and buy the cartridge or buy the cartridge through mail order or anything like that. The physical copy of it, the hardware, and the difference between, you know, the, you know, memory cartridge versus the hardware system that you have to use in order to project the game itself, you know, the video game console in so many words. I'm you know, trying to just add the verbiage to your mind to help you understand these computering times. You know, they go a quick freestyle for you. Hit the like button. Hit some more Professor Black Truth, and some Professor Black Truth, and I'm gonna end it out with him. And I'll be back with the ending and saying a good day. I gave y'all a good hour, so I'm gonna go to an hour and maybe I think it's like 20 minutes, maybe not even that long, but we'll see. Here we go. Bam.
It's not coming. ICE is running around doing stupid photo ops in New York and Chicago, these blue cities, and the only people who are upset about it are the politicians there, at least in Chicago. In New York, the political response has been far more muted. I guess this means the millionaires and billionaires in that city already have all the housekeepers and cleaning staff they need, and considering that Donald Trump occasionally calls New York home, it makes sense that his neighbors are on the same page with him. And while all of this is going on, where is the Congressional Black Caucus at? Or the Congressional Black Talkers, I should say. While the black grassroots have made it clear that all these groups who have spent the last 3 generations spitting in our faces, well, everybody's going to have to hold their own now, where's the CBC at? They want to go ahead and do some sort of stupid photo op press conference and speak up for all of this. We need to be welcoming everybody. Is that what they're doing? No. Their focus is on fighting the war to maintain DEI initiatives. And while I agree that DEI is the latest right-wing acronym soup term manufactured to be a euphemism for black, it's also true that the CBC hasn't done anything to stand up for any sort of policy that benefits black people at all. These guys are the epitome of useless. Where have they been at to organize their votes and hold up legislation in Congress until they get certain laws passed? They don't do it. They've got leverage, but they don't dare use it. Same way those boot-licking, butt-kissing, buck-dancing Uncle Toms and Aunt Tamika sellouts in the California Black Legislative Caucus did absolutely nothing for black people in that state either. Though they did make time to be Gavin Newsom's crash dummies to block that reparations bill. But it makes sense that the CBC is laying low right now. As I detailed for you, a disproportionate number of the Congressional Black Caucus, if not outright majority, are immigrants. And that includes their current so-called leader, Stephen Horsford. And just in case you have any doubts about where this guy stands when it comes to immigration and whether or not he's decided to prioritize people who aren't even citizens over foundational black Americans, here's a video of him from his own Facebook page.
Rosen, this is about family. Immigration has always been about family. My mother came to the United States at 12 years old from Trinidad with my grandmother. And while my grandmother pursued the American dream and worked hard, my mom went to school. But because of a broken immigration system, after my grandmother got sick, my mom ended up overstaying her visa and became undocumented. She's now a legal permanent resident. So when I hear the stories of moms and dreamers and families who are worried about keeping their families together, the 6,300 people in Nevada who are worried about TPS protection, and so many more who are worried because we have a broken system, know that you are not forgotten. Yeah. Know that we are fighting for you and your family. And one of the reasons I'm running for Congress is because I will never forget where I've come from or what I'm fighting for.
So there you have it. The head of the Congressional Black Caucus is himself the child of illegal immigrants, and that being the case, he identifies with that. He doesn't even talk about being black. It's all about being an immigrant. And considering the fact that the Congressional Black Caucus, like the rest of these dead-end civil rights fossils, they're all trying to find a way to rebrand themselves because the younger black folks who are under the age of 55, these folks have said to hell with these guys, we're abandoning them because they turned their backs on us. And now they're trying to find a way to rebrand themselves and reach out to anyone and everyone except for black people, and he's part of that. So let's go and get one of their own to be the leader of our group, and he'll tell them how his mother was an illegal alien and how he himself, he's standing up for them. And we're not going to say anything about slavery. We're not going to say anything about black people. We're certainly not going to call out anti-black racism that comes from the Latino community. In fact, we're trying to get away from all of that. We're trying to de-racialize ourselves. Instead, we're going to be just a plain vanilla, pun intended, civil rights organization, and we'll be advocating for stuff that really matters. You know, things like abortion and transgender bathrooms, because those are the really big issues that are facing the black community, though we're not going to say black. Did you get all that? That was from his own Facebook page. He posted that because he wanted folks to know this is where I stand on the issue. He talks about how his mother came to the U.S. from Trinidad, and apparently his grandmother was already here. She overstayed her visa. He claims it because his grandmother got sick. Now, is anyone buying that story? And he then immediately connects his story to the so-called Dreamers, who are from Latin America, by the way. And they come from cultures that practice rampant, violent, anti-black racism, and he says he's fighting for them. Now, the Dreamers already have congressional representation. It's called the Hispanic Caucus. And here you got the leader of the so-called Congressional Black Caucus, and this guy makes absolutely no pretense at all that he's representing us. He doesn't even pretend that he is. And he makes no connection between himself and us at all. He's not black. He's an immigrant. He said it with his chest, full stop. And that's because as a tether, he's able to access all kinds of government programs because he is an immigrant. And the same thing went for his mother and his grandmother. And the dominant society looks at him differently precisely because they know that he didn't come from the killing fields of the American South. The white supremacists are observant, if nothing else. They have long understood the necessity of being able to accurately put people into certain categories, at least certain categories as it serves the interest and the preservation of the power of white supremacy. Simply put, those of us who had to break the chains of slavery in this country, we're built differently. And we see this not just in the Americas, but around the world. And that's no shade, that's no disrespect. We got plenty of B-1 soldiers from the diaspora whose folks also put in work and earned their stripes. But my point is, the dominant society across the board, they understand that when they got black folks who are coming from abroad, well, they don't seem to have the quote-unquote chip on their shoulder that foundational black Americans do. And that chip on the shoulder happens to be the absolute dogged determination that we are going to institute a system of justice here and overthrow white supremacy, which will put an end to the system of goodies, giveaways, and guarantees that they've relied on for 500 years. Only the right stuff survived the living hell of American slavery, and that being the case, yes, as a result, we are built differently. You would be hard-pressed to find a foundational black American going to any other country, certainly not one with a sizable black population, and start talking that gibberish that racism isn't that much of a problem, and they've never really been bothered by that, but it's no big deal. You would be hard-pressed to find anyone who would be stupid enough to talk like that from our ranks. And here this Tether Horsford is, and he's going to call himself trying to co-opt our history, our struggle, our story, and our moral accomplishments, and then falsely claim that because he has a certain amount of melanin, that somehow he can go ahead and claim that his folks were somehow connected to or otherwise involved with slavery and Jim Crow. It had something to do with him somehow, as if his folks were there all alongside us. By his own admission, his folks hadn't even gotten to the U.S. yet. We are not immigrants. We are survivors of the worst Holocaust in human history. And not only has this Holocaust not been atoned for, it's still ongoing. See, in other countries, it's the culture to go ahead and be dishonest, which is why they can never build together. They can't trust each other. Their loyalty system isn't merely broken, it's completely disintegrated. And nobody wants to have to do the hard work of reconstituting a new one. And that's the reason why Pan-Africanism was always damned to fail from the very beginning. As Dr. John Henrik Clarke said himself, you cannot have an alliance unless you have the ability to punish anyone in the alliance who breaks the alliance. But it also needs to be said you can't have an alliance of one. Both parties have to be equally committed to be allied to one another. So far, what we had was not a two-way street, it was a one-way road, and that doesn't work. And speaking of people who don't work, I have noticed, like everybody else, that the Republicans are saying that the 14th Amendment had to do with slavery. And that is good that these guys are at least saying that, not because they're committed to us, but because of the fact that they're saying it with their own mouths. And I hope that they keep that same energy when it comes to these corporations who claim that in the eyes of the law, corporations are to be looked at as persons, because these corporations also abuse the 14th Amendment to create that legal lie. In fact, the 14th Amendment has been used, abused, and raped to benefit everyone from mothers who want to terminate their babies, to illegal aliens who aren't even citizens, to corporations who aren't even human beings. Everybody has jumped on the 14th Amendment and twisted it and perverted it in order to fit their own desires for power and to prop up their own petty political demands. That's what's been going on for at least the last 100-some-odd years. And yet, foundational black Americans, who are the people who fought to get those laws on the books and are the only ones who those laws were actually written for, have been categorically ignored and denied the benefit of the very laws that we brought into being. What we see happening right now is exactly what the black community in general and the black media in specific have been saying was going to occur for a very long time. And you had these folks here who apparently thought to themselves that they were somehow immune from all of this, that America hadn't done anything like this in such a long time, so these white supremacists, they were civilized, and hey, they're all on the same team against black people, so it's all good, right? They're seeing the reality now. As the raids and the detentions continue to mount, a lot of people who thought they had found a comfortable place under white supremacy and thought that harming black people was a victimless crime, they're now seeing that their would-be friends are showing them the door. And I can't really be upset about it. Black people have warned all these groups from the very beginning that they were crawling into bed with the devil, but as they saw it, they were getting some crumbs from Mass's table, and they thought being helped to leapfrog over black people. And will they be able to mount some sort of substantive counter-push against this? Well, having never practiced standing up to white aggression in their home countries, they're going to bend like taffy on a summer day to the orange man. For our part, however, we're not taking sides, because we don't get involved in third-party disputes. The tethers who have spent the last few years pretending to speak for us, and who are always the first ones to jump in front of a camera to stick up for non-citizens, you notice how they're nowhere to be seen now? It's because they themselves don't want to become targets, true, but it's also because we, as the black media, successfully pushed for delineation. So people are starting to understand that whenever they see some black person on TV or on the internet who seems too eager and irrationally hell-bound to be an advocate for everybody else except for us, this person isn't speaking for anyone but themselves. The message has begun to get through, and most importantly, it's gotten through with the people who needed to hear it the most, and that happens to be young black people. It's permeated down to the black folks who really need to hear this message so that they can internalize it. That's how you change the culture. And while of course we still have a hell of a lot of work ahead of us, and none of us are pleased to see the congressional black talkers slamming their gums, the reality is when it comes to cultural changes, shifting who's going to be in those positions of leadership, that's actually a lagging indicator. Things start with people who actually have resolved that changes need to happen and what those changes are. We later on start to see the individuals who are ensconced in these positions by white power wind up inevitably finding themselves forced out. That comes later, which is why it is crucial that we continue to push, that we continue to delegitimize these tethers and bootlicks and empty mouthpieces. We make clear that everybody understands these people are nothing more than a bunch of frauds and charlatans. They do not speak for us, and that we will not rest until we have people in those positions who do speak for us. These self-appointed tether spokespeople, they're getting their wake-up call too, only it's not coming from the orange man. Their wake-up call is coming from us. As for the Republicans' sudden reacquaintance with the Constitution, we're going to take note of the GOP's words because they will be useful for us later on as we press our own demands. But don't kid yourselves. No matter how the GOP is giving minor lip service to what's right today, they'll be denying it tomorrow, which is why it's important for us that we handcuff them to their own words. As I've said a million times, white supremacy has no principles, and this also goes double for those who chose to ally themselves with white supremacy. All they have is situational ethics and moral relativism. All of these beneficiaries of anti-black racism, they'll say whatever they think is in their interest at any given moment. And depending on how much pressure they're under, they're likely to say anything. But whatever it is, it won't be the truth. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take
Yeah, I'm fighting a tyrant. Wow. I ain't died yet. I'm doing good. So yeah, there it is. Way back in the day, I gotta start. We can count the dough or kick a flow. Chill out watching videos. Rack really silly, yo. But really though, all that can end. You know what I mean? We're the fighting tyrants. Right? Whether at the bar with superstars, cruising in a trooper car. Really don't care who you are. All I really need is a friend. Me and my friends are fighting tyrants right now. You know? I didn't know I had it in me. I was like, fight a tyrant, y'all bugging. This is like nothing we ever faced before. Bah, shoot him in the neck. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this is the game. Yeah, this is the first battle, so it ain't he ain't serious like that. But did I die? I think I died. Oh, I died. Oh well. So yeah, I'll come back and fight him again. I'm over here focused more on how to end the show. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Yeah, you know, when you go to fight tyrants, make sure you're prepared. You need more than guns. You need knives. I need body armor. I need all that super fly stuff. I hope y'all enjoyed listening to the part of the black, foundational black American media that I listen to. Yeah, I don't really listen to the Democrats anymore, especially those that are in line with it just for the money, and that's Al Sharpton and your D.L. Hughley's. Yeah, they're rich celebrities and everything, and even Oprah Winfrey. And yeah, the little $1 million that they made off of, Al Sharpton got 500 million or whatever. Yeah, that's chump change to them, and it goes to their organizations. And yes, we have to get in line with their organizations and hope that those organizations will help us, and just like the government and et cetera, et cetera. And it's just pretty ironic that they're not really helping, and then even, there's a lot of politics going on in the background, and what we need to and can't do, when it's simple of, hey, just cut the check. Give me some kind of reparations. If you give me a big enough check, I can fix everything, and you know what I mean, and get my life going and going on, or whatever. Or if y'all like, subscribe and share, or if you donate, those things help as well, so that I can get out of debt. You know what I mean? I purposely, changed it. Tried to change it so that I wasn't in so much debt. But it's all about making you more in debt so that you owe forever, and then at the same time, we're getting in more debt with the world, and the world owes us a lot. So it is everybody's debt collectors trying to collect their debt, and in the black community, that's not good, because some people don't know how to forgive debt, right? Or even how to share the wealth if they do have wealth. But there it is. That's what's going on. A whole lot of cronyism was going on. Trump is supposed to be changing it to a meritocracy, which is, hey, you made this much, we're going to cut the check to get it right, or you contributed, and we as foundational black Americans, we've been here, we built the U.S., the capital. So we never got that cash. So give us some cash for even doing that. We need help. And there it is. That's it in a nutshell. But at the same time, our community is hip hop, the foundational black Americans. That's our community. And the Hip Hop Alliance is our culture. So if I share that information as well, contribute to them. Contribute to the people that I shared today. Go to their pages, hit the like button, subscribe, contribute it to them, or even their, if they, Professor Black Proof had his, what's the name on there? So contribute to him. If y'all believe in trickle down, contribute to me. I'll send Professor Black Truth $1 or $2 or whatever. You know what I mean? That's how the economics works. Economics is the art of making the most out of life. But let's remember that God is first. So, one God, our Father, all the time, hip hop life, love one. That's God is love, hip hop is life, time is holy. And let us remember that money is that fourth dimensional illusion that really doesn't exist. Peace.